I made a mistake here on Alex Garrett Podcasting. I made a mistake a few years ago endorsing these injection sites that I thought were going to do well for New York City. I thought that might help the situation. But instead, it's just harbored a horrid, drug-plagued city. I see it in my own area by Union Turnpike. You know, there was a carjacking that rammed into the local KFC in Queens / Pizza Hut in Queens. They've not been able to repair their door. It's still boarded up. But that carjacking was just one issue in that neighborhood. How about the fact that I see drugged out and spaced out people walking around Union Turnpike? I heard personally someone brag about drug deals that they do because they have a rehab facility that seems to be celebrated on Union Turnpike, and it's horrible. It's opened the door. So when I saw this, that City Council has approved 40-6, by the way, a used needle buyback program. My God, I thought, how disgusting is that? Honestly, how disgusting that junkies will earn now 20 cents per used syringe they return, but would be capped at $10 daily. This program can be taken advantage of daily. 40-6. The bill would require the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to establish a pilot program offering financial incentives for the return of needles, syringes, and sharps used for non-medical consumption at locations in the 5 highest need council districts. Department of Health would also determine eligibility for participation in the program. And $10 a day. Once implemented, the program would expire after 1 year and would require the Department of Health to submit a report after the program has ended that includes the name and locations of all buyback locations, the number of litter returned under the program by location, the total amount of money dispersed, and a recommendation as to whether to make the pilot program permanent. It would require DOHMH to create a community-based plan of action to address the opioid epidemic in communities deemed at high risk for opioid abuse and deaths. So our tax-paying dollars, in an effort to combat the dirty needles on the street, are doing a buyback program. But this, as Councilmember Bob Holden argues, doesn't focus on resolving addiction. It perpetuates the problem by giving drug abusers money to continue their habits. This will be another tax-paying boondoggle and will only make matters worse. Diana Ayala, councilwoman from the Bronx and Manhattan, says the overall aim is to connect users with organizations that can put them into health, that can put them onto a path of recovery, while at the same time cleaning up our streets. By the way, do you know the city has issued a $14 million program to clean up our streets? $14 million. None of this makes sense on the 5-minute fix. None of this makes sense. Because the buyback program is disgusting. Used needles buyback program. But as they point out, mostly drug abusers will be the ones returning the used needles. to continue their habits. And these injection sites are just breeding more drug use in the suburbs. Close the injection sites. I'm sorry I advocated that was a good thing. I was kind of naive back in the day. I thought that was going to work. Didn't work. And let's get people help, not money. Let's get people help, not money, Councilwoman Ayala. Mayor de Blasio, whose injection site plan was put in place. Not more money thrown at the drug abusers. That's the last thing we need in this city. I have the $14 million plan to clean up our street story and this buyback story and write to your council people today. Write to your council people today that you want this buyback program ended and more help towards the drug abusing community, not money thrown in their hands. Sincerely, a lifelong New Yorker on Alex Garrett Podcast.